Make a few comments on the scene between Dr. David Macrith, aka Doctor Who, and Bob of Speaker's Corner. And I would start by saying that there's fault on both sides here. For a start, Doctor Who, you should not be demanding or going onto forums either speculating or asking Bob to reveal his real name. That is his choice. And you are, quite frankly, Doctor Who, being a bit PC. You're going after your BBC creators here. Is that they always go, oh, Tommy Robbins, oh, his real name, Stephen. I mean, that story is well known that Stephen Yaxley, what's his name, never really wanted the public eye and wanted to use the name Tommy Robinson. Bob is entitled to call himself what he likes. It's and I think it is wrong. It's not doxing, but it is still wrong of you. But on the other hand, Bob's up to his old tricks again. He comes over wanting to talk. Well, Bob is too much of a coward to talk to Doctor Who. Patronises him, calls him the old man. Video is there. That is wrong. And then insults with the name sectarian. Well, Bob can't even define what sectarian means. I'm not a sectarian. I am not a sectarian. I believe in the fact that Christians, Jews, Hindus, Sikhs, Nigerians, Vietnamese can live in peace together. As we all know, there is one group of people who cannot live in peace in Britain, and I'm not going to spell that out on this video because I don't want to get demonetized. This is a niche channel. People from Speaker's Corner watch this channel. Bob clearly pushes. He always says, excuse me, before he pushes. I mean, yes, it's quite a polite pusher, really. And, you gave Dr. David a bit of a shove there. And I think the two of you need to sort it out. But, of course, Bob, you're too scared to actually to enter into a discussion with Doctor Who. I mean, you're quite okay having a go at Jude. And as you pointed out to Jude, Jude is full of pride. Pot calling the kettle black. The pot calls the kettle black, dude. I mean, for heaven's sake, in that conversation between Bob and Jude, it was two people completely full of pride. And then, of course, the so-called Christians going, oh, we've got to be united in doctrine. I'm sorry. If you're hanging around with people who pray to Mary and saints, that's not Christianity. However, I'll call, credit where credit's due. Bob does the country a huge favour down at that park. Yes, I am saying that. Because he does know his stuff on the Bible. He doesn't know the gospel, but he does actually know the Bible. His biblical knowledge is very, very good. That's why I hung on his calls for about 6 months. Now, Bob's problem, in my opinion, is that he's trying to use the Bible to justify Christian nationalism. That is another discussion. But in terms of refuting the inconsistencies, irrationalities of a certain book beginning with K, top marks. I mean, God, if I was Prime Minister, you'd be getting at least an OBE, Bob. Yeah? I'm not against you. What you do politically is pretty good. What you do, however, is you try to promote this false Christian nationalism, and then when you get called out, you then call people sectarian. That's just insanity. I mean, the thing is, you're standing up to one group of religious nutters, and then you're behaving yourself along with others like a religious nutter. Do you think that is going to get through to the hobbits, as Elon Musk calls them? The people who listen to Classic FM, the people who basically listen to This Is Heart and watch the BBC, they're going to run away from you. I mean, you're a good debater, Bob. The two of you should sit down at the Grosvenor Hotel or wherever you go, Bob, and actually sort this out off camera. Yeah? Because, Doctor Who is right. You are not preaching the gospel. We are justified by faith alone. That is it. Quite simple. So, The other hypocrisy with old Bob and young Bob is that young Bob decided to slander me. Well, in a text message, because I think I lasted a day on the Christ is King WhatsApp group. I actually said to young Bob, I'll just publish it. That was wrong of me, so I apologise. I wouldn't do that anyway. I mean, the thing is that the lot of you need to be very careful to protect each other. When I was talking to the really tall guy in the park just before I left Britain, the idea of escorting Christian preachers out of the park, especially when it gets dark, is very, very important. You need to stay safe down there. These people are nuts. Oh, another thing about Bob's hypocrisy. There was a day when there was a big Shia event in Marble Arch, and they decided to basically charge down into Speaker's Corner. And I was a bit worried for a bit. Wendell cleared off. I was in the process of clearing off, but making sure that my friends on the Israel cowboy stall, as I call it, were actually okay. And I came over to you, Bob, and I said, your Christian brothers need your help. But you were too, basically, pretty much 3/4 up your own backside and full of your own pride to actually come in and help. And that was actually the pot calling the kettle black, by the way, when you were sat there with Jude, calling him prideful. You are more prideful than Jude, boyo. Take the plank out of your eye. But like I say, I'll say it again. Bob does the nation of England and Great Britain an extremely big service because he has the courage to go out and debate the Darwinists. And, I take my hat off to him for that. The fact that I don't... And I'm the same as Errol here. Errol doesn't think you're a Christian, Bob. I'm not saying that to be, no. I'm not like that. So I really hope you guys can sort it out. If you want, I'll host a Zoom call with the two of you. I know that won't happen, so, but I'm offering anyway. The two of you are really... Well, I mean, Dr. David is a really nice guy. You've pushed and punched before, Bob. Come on, grow up. Grow up. But at least reach a sort of point of difference where you can agree to disagree. The fact is, Bob, is that you are a Roman Catholic. Sorry, you're worse. You're an Anglo-Catholic. And yes, I agree with you. I mean, what you were talking about, the Church of England, is very, very, very true. The Church of England, though, from its inception, was a church where you could pretty much believe what you liked, as long as basically the Queen didn't find you a threat. I mean, the Church of England in its modern form was actually really established by Queen Elizabeth because she had the high, the middle, and the low church. And I agree with you. I mean, the present Archbishop of Canterbury, I mean, my God. I mean, I'm almost too embarrassed to call myself British at the moment. I mean, if I'm out, I sometimes say I'm from New Zealand or Australia. I mean, why not? Because if you say you're from England, I mean, look at we haven't got all video to talk about the number of embarrassing people we've got in leadership positions. I mean, the new Archbishop of Canterbury. Oh, I wish everyone would love each other. It's just embarrassing. So, I hope the two of you can sort out your differences, at least to the point of not getting into these things. Now, when I actually had established that Bob was too much of a coward to debate me, I played him on his own terms. The last few times I spoke to Bob, I fed him such easy questions, he couldn't even answer them. So, Bob, go away and read your Bible. Doctor Who, you are guilty of basically peddling the politically correct line. Bob is entitled to call himself Bob. I bet you his real name's Colin or something like that, and he used to be sat at Middlesbrough Station spotting trains or something. Sorry, Bob, take a joke. Doctor Who, take a joke. The pair of you need to chill out a bit. It really is important that you do that, because that park is quite a dangerous place. There are some very, very dangerous people down there. Very dangerous. So, please sort out your differences. I'm quite happy to host a Zoom call on the understanding that it's a private Zoom call, because decorum in the park is important. Dr. David, the way you preach the gospel is inspiring. You preach and you are doing the Lord's work down there. Totally 100%. But I think on this one, you are reacting to the arrogance of Bob. I mean, Bob won't have a Zoom call with us. Come on, let's just forget that. And there's no such thing as a sectarian. You are either a Christian or you are not. It says that in the Bible. There will be the sheep, and then there will be the goats. Very, very simple. So Bob, go away and read the Bible. Doctor Who, I know you won't go and watch Doctor Who. Take a bit of a joke, and I do think you owe Bob an apology. Thank you for your attention.